Welcome back, everybody. We are back with another one, another how-to, that is.
Yes.
Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about fish care. What do we mean by that?
How to take care of your fish and what to do in the event of.
There's a sound effect for that.
You don't want your fish to suffer. It's kind of like hunting.
Right. So what we have a couple different products that we pulled out of our arsenal here that are great fish care products, and we'll kind of go one by one through them and what they do and what the strengths of them are, and then we'll go from there. We plan on expanding too on this particular topic at some point with additional products, but these are the current line that we have available and how they help take care of the fish as you're catching them. I would say number one is let's pick on Keep 'em Kickin' Juice. So Keep 'em Kickin' Juice is a live well treatment juice. And this stuff right here, it detoxifies, it relieves the stress of the fish, it replaces slime coat, and then it adds the needed electrolytes in the water to help keep those fish alive. So not only is it great for bait, but it also is great for live well treatment when you're keeping your fish, especially in a tournament setting. It's perfect for keeping them alive if you're trying to get to the ramp to get that weigh in. Many tournaments require that a live fish be weighed in, and this will assist with that. The cool thing about this stuff is it's very concentrated, so it only takes a half ounce to 30 gallons of water. So you literally just squeeze this, it pipes it up to the top reservoir, you open the top reservoir, pour it in the bait well or live well, and
a lot of our guys down at Dale Hollow were using this stuff and having a lot of success with it, weren't they?
Oh man, yeah, they were buying it up, dude.
Yeah.
But okay, so now, if you've heard of it, fizzing, this will kind of be a hand-in-hand video on the strategy of fizzing. And what fizzing is, and this is kind of a new discovery within the last couple of years, I'd say. More and more people are becoming acclimated with that term. And what that means is, when fish are rising and lowering levels, they do that by adjusting the air that's in their air bladder. So they filter the oxygen out of the water, H2O, obviously. If they filter the water or the oxygen out of it, and then they use that oxygen to fill their air bladder up. When they're filling it up, just like we do with our lungs, we tend to float. They'll rise, and then they have the ability to basically breathe in water. So they're filtering that oxygen, they're pumping their air bladder up to rise, and then they're letting it out to sink. Well, what happens is when you, much like human beings and other species for that matter, when we are in a deep water setting and we get pulled up from various levels of pressure, every so often, I believe it's 10 or so feet, let's just say that, there's another level of atmospheric pressure. Well, if you get pulled up from that atmospheric pressure, you get like the bends. In the case of the fish, their air bladder wants to inflate like a balloon. And so in the live well, these fish will start to kind of belly up, and they'll literally just sit there and die, dude.
Yeah, they can't breathe, essentially.
Right. They're all full with air. And so there's a couple methods that are common.
They essentially need to burp.
That's it. Yeah, basically. So there's a couple methods common to relieve that air out of the bladder. One is using a fizzing needle, where you're literally counting the amount of scales back and trying to accurately just puncture that air bladder with a needle that has a hole in it, and it lets the air out. It's kind of fizzes out.
I've also seen people do it through the mouth as well.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of people doing it through the mouth. Me personally, I've never had to fizz a fish.
Right.
So I've never done it before. I don't know much about it.
Sure.
So this is also a learning experience for me too, because I don't know much about anything when it comes to live well stuff and fizzing fish.
Cool. So when you're fizzing them, though, there's some dangers obviously involved in using a sharp needle. This is a pen, clearly, but this is going to simulate a needle. So, you could poke yourself, you could miss and hit the wrong section of the fish that you're trying to hit. And next thing you know, you kill them. You're trying to help them stay alive, and you kill them. So,
and that fish could win you a tournament.
Dude, it's totally.
So you definitely want to be very, very careful when you're doing this stuff.
That's right. Yeah. So like another method, and it's becoming more and more popular because it's less, there's not as much risk involved and it's easy, are fizz clips. And so we make this product called a fin fizz clip. And this here is a very heavy clip. Most of the competitors out there, and hey, they have a reason, I'm sure, but most of the competitors out there are very lightweight. So what has a tendency to do is when you clip these, and I'll explain where, but you clip these and they basically could shake it right off and they're done. There's some strengths, I'm sure, some benefits of having it like that. But in ours, they're 4 ounce. They're real heavy. You clip this guy right to, bless you, Bryce.
Thank you.
Off the cuff, no fluff, y'all. We clip this sucker right to the rectal fin of the fish. So it clips on, and then it keeps that fish in the live well upright. So now, instead of that air bladder, keeping them sideways, with this clip on it, it's going to weigh them down in the live well and keep them up. And then just by merely being upright, they will burp it out and then eventually shake it off, and they'll be fine. And so it's a cool way to keep to fizz your fish in a healthy and safe way, where you won't have the possibility of pricking you or killing the fish by accidentally pricking them in the wrong place.
So speaking of pricking a fish in the wrong place and it not surviving, that leads me into our next product that we have. This is the Easy Out tool, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
And so basically what this is if you happen to gut hook a fish. So if you look down in their mouth and you can kind of tell where their gut is and and everything, if it's hooked up in there and you can't get that out, you want to take this hook that's on the end of this right here. Okay, that hook, and you want to put that around your hook. You want to push down, and then you want to pull this to itself. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull that hook back into this this mechanism here, and then it's going to help you get that hook out so much easier, because you can twist it, you can do this, you can turn it whatever way you want to do. Now, another way to do it is to take some pliers and stick them through the gill.
Right.
You stick them up through the gill,
right,
and then you grab your hook as close to their throat as you can, and then you rotate those pliers. And those are the two methods that I found that work the best.
Yeah, you got to be a little more careful. It depends on where the hooks, obviously,
when you're going through their gills, you got to be very careful.
Right. But a great tool to have on hand for getting a hook out.
This is in my tackle box every day.
Gotta be.
Every time I go fishing. Yep. Especially if I catch one of them big 5-pound bass or something, and it's gut hooked and I don't want it to die.
Right.
I want my kids and my kids' kids to be able to catch that fish.
Heck yeah. All right. Last but not least, y'all, we have one of our Cast Cray Cares products. And what that is, we have a foundation where we donate basically education. We do like seminars. We donate rods and reels and even baits to kids, and we try to teach them the importance of fishing. And this is kind of phase 2 of that project, where we want to start. I built this kind of piece and engineered this piece, and we're trying to give this away basically to our local waterways for fish crib and fish attractors. This is a base that was 3D printed. This is open source on our website. It's a free file. If you guys have a 3D printer, you can download it, print it yourself. This takes 15 2-foot, or if you want them larger than that, that's fine too. 1/2-inch PVC piping. And then you just put PVC glue in there and it glues right in. I would recommend even coating it with PVC glue just to help with some of the longevity of the plastic. And then drop it in your waterway. Now, important, you can't legally just drop it into any waterway.
However, if you have a pond,
right,
or somebody with a pond,
yes,
or a private lake, get permission from the owner.
Yep. And
that can definitely be a very, very good way to provide some cover and some structure for your fish.
Yeah.
Now,
and it helps with growing the fish too.
Now, I have one question about this. Actually.
Okay.
Do you need to tie a weight to this to keep it on the bottom?
No. Although it will keep it stationary, like set to one specific spot in the pond, it's not necessary. So when this is filled with PVC pipes are all over this, and look at the website, castcray.com, you'll be able to see some of the pictures of these sunk in the water. But when this thing looks, it's got messy hair everywhere. The water fills up in the pipe, and weighs it down pretty good. So I have mine on the side, even on the hill, and it, you know, I dropped it down in my pond. It sits off to the side, and we got 3 of them side by side, and they don't scoot down. If you wanted to weigh them down, what I would probably do is get a brick, one of those bricks with like a hole in it. And thanks for shutting that off, Bryce.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
And sliding it down over the pipe, and it will hold it down. So
everyone that I've seen, you always had to like tie a cinder block to it, or like put some concrete in the cinder block and put this in the concrete or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that you don't have to use any concrete, any cinder blocks or bricks or anything to weigh it down. You just throw it in the water and it's good to go.
Bada bing, bada boom. Well, guys, I think that's it as far as our little tidbit here, a little how-to as to a little bit of some fish care ideas. And if you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave those below. We will follow up with them. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Talk to you later.
Peace.
Deuce.